Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's so good to be with you on a Wednesday from our I Love CVille studios in downtown Charlottesville, Virginia. A lot planned on the program. We had so much positive feedback from the Matthew Woodson interview we did last week. Matthew Woodson is a north of Charlottesville expert, Greene County, Orange County, Barboursville area. We had Matthew Woodson, a powerhouse super agent with Roy Wheeler, who's managing the Roy Wheeler north of town office on the show last week. And I got such crazy feedback about spotlighting Greene and Orange because a lot of times the outer counties around Charlottesville do not get the attention they deserve. As a result of the positive feedback from Matthew Woodson, we are bringing an east side of Central Virginia expert. Her name is Kimberly Coe Johnson onto the set, onto the program, and she's going to give us the nitty-gritty on Louisa, Fluvanna, Zion's Crossroads, the east side of Central Virginia. And if you follow real estate like I do, the east side of Central Virginia is booming. I mean, I think eventually we're going to live in a Central Virginia where Richmond is connected to Charlottesville all down Interstate 64. We're clearly already seeing that with Short Pump and Zion's Crossroads, and it's just a matter of time till it connects. Kimberly Johnson's going to join us momentarily. Let's thank some of the fantastic sponsors that make this program possible. First, Greenberry's Coffee. For 27 plus years, there was a husband and wife tandem who had a dream, who were willing to work hard, and they were willing to risk some money to start a business. Their names are Sean and Roxanne Simmons. They started with a beat-up Honda Civic and a lot of sweat equity, a roasting facility in the McIntyre Office Park, and their first location at Barracks Road Shopping Center. Today, Greenberry's Coffee is a global business. Yes, global. They have locations in Qatar, Japan, Saudi Arabia. They're opening in Portland, Oregon, one in Washington, D.C., and ladies and gentlemen, it started right here in Charlottesville, and that makes me so happy. Scott Wagner, Dr. Scott Wagner, another great guy behind this program. Scott Wagner at Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. They have your back. Who's got your back? Scott Wagner's got your back. He is improving the quality of life of people left and right in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. His name is Dr. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Harris Tolber, our director, Judah Wickhauer, and Lauren Linsky, our producers. Harris, on that note, I think we should welcome Kimberly Johnson, who's looking quite dapper and beautiful and is already making the show look good without saying a word. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Jerry.
So let's get straight into it. You're an east side of Central Virginia expert. You know the real estate markets inside and out. You follow the economies very closely, the small business owners very closely. Before we get into that, I want to get to know you, the person. I want to get to know who Kimberly Coe Johnson is. I want to get to know your passions, your hobbies, your interests, what you like to do for fun, what you like to do when you're not selling homes, when you're not helping people buy homes. Put in perspective your life and what's going on with you, Kimberly.
Well, I came to Virginia from Tennessee. I was born in Arizona and moved around quite a bit with family.
Okay.
Huge background of a lot of different West Coast, Southern kind of thing. People often ask me, "You're from the West Coast?" And I say, "Yeah," and where that accent come from? However, I landed here in Virginia after the loss of my father. We moved here. I had siblings here and started to just jump into the lifestyle on the East Coast and what all it could bring. I ended up marrying and had two beautiful children, and have since then moved on, and children have grown, and I enjoy my biggest passion is I love motorcycles. I ride a lot.
That's awesome.
There's nothing like some good wind therapy.
Yeah?
So
what are you riding? What's your bike?
well, I don't have one currently.
Okay.
But my last one, I had a Wag-Glide, a
Nice.
95 Wag-Glide.
Okay.
That was custom built.
Okay.
Quite sweet, I might add. However, pretty much, anything with two wheels, and often enjoy four-wheeling as well. Big outdoors. I enjoy camping and fishing, and most of all, love spending time with family and friends.
I love it.
Friends, yeah.
I love it. Same with me. I wanted to get a motorcycle. My wife said, "There's no way in hell I'm going to allow you to get a motorcycle, Jerry." She said, "Go ahead and buy that motorcycle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain it up in the backyard." What do you say to her? Say, come on, she's watching right now. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to put you in that spot. She's rolling her eyes right now. I know she is.
Well, I would have to say take the class together.
Okay.
Maybe. It may be a passion that she enjoys too. It's the one time I can say to her that your phone won't be ringing.
There you go.
It may be ringing, but you can't answer.
She calls my phone the other woman.
Oh,
The
see?
girlfriend is my phone.
See, she would be point on all the time.
I like it. Kimberly Coe Johnson, our guest. You're a popular lady. A lot of people watching. Let's thank the folks that are watching here. Bob Shada, Jason Krigler, Frankie Bourne, Lauren Linsky, Gilly Garth, Quentin Johnson, Bobby Castine, John Updike, Josh Hill, Mike Stanley, Frankie, Julia Yakowitz. A lot of people watching right now.
Nice.
So we, guys, like and share this stream if you don't mind. Give it a like and share it. We're putting a positive spotlight on Central Virginia and Charlottesville, Fluvanna County, Louisa County. All right, let's get into some of the stuff that you are you do professionally. Okay. Real estate for Roy Wheeler, and you're a specialist on the east side of Central Virginia. First, put in perspective the geographical territory so we can kind of set the tone for our viewers.
If I'm following you correctly, I would think possibly we want to focus a little bit on the development.
Yeah. What territory do you focus on? You said, is it Louisa?
Well, I do a variety of anything on the east side, so Fluvanna.
Okay.
Fluvanna, Louisa, Gordonsville, Goochland. I will go as far as Chesterfield, Orange County, out near Lake Anna.
Awesome.
I'll come up, back towards town because a lot of people don't realize that Louisa and Fluvanna and Albemarle all meet together.
Right.
You can go in and out of Louisa and Albemarle in 5 miles, back and forth. So.
Right. It's Albemarle is such a big county. Louisa and Fluvanna booming. I mean,
yes.
Can you put in perspective the obscene growth? I think the layman's, the average Joe, you're the expert, the average Joe like me sees Zion's Crossroads, immediately thinks Spring Creek. And Spring Creek is, exploding in popularity. It's absolutely beautiful out there. But it's not just Spring Creek that's booming out there. Talk to us about that.
Not at all. We have been growing by leaps and bounds since about 2010, 2011. The office there in Zion's Crossroads, the Roy Wheeler office, opened up in the latter part of 2011. And at that point, we were already starting to see a growth. And since then, we have developed, of course, we have your chain restaurants and things, but more importantly, the local. It is just growing and growing and growing. I mean, I'm sure if you've ever been out that way, you've seen the variety of commercial as far as your chain to your mom and pop.
Yeah.
The mom and pop places are just phenomenal. Spring Creek, it's out there and it's growing and it's beautiful. They have a gorgeous golf course.
Yeah.
You have Tavern on the Green that offers entertainment, which a lot of people don't know that.
Right.
And then you have your local places like the Crescent Inn that's been there forever. Some other places that are locally owned. Even we have a place out there, BurritOh.
Yeah. Tom Noelke's place.
Yes.
He's our client.
Yeah.
Tom Noelke, they're trying to expand and scale that brand. And one of their first locations, I think it might have been their first location, is Zion's Crossroads. Tom is there working the line a lot of times. That guy's a great entrepreneur.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Lilo's Pizza joined out there, and it's growing, and we're getting ready to get a Mexican restaurant. They're developing the use for another hotel out there. It's kind of some chatter. I don't want to throw any names because it's not definite.
Oh, I like chatter, Kimberly.
But also there's going to be another large grocery store coming out that way. We believe it's going to be Harris Teeter.
That's going to be so awesome.
Yes.
Because what do you have now?
Right now we have Walmart.
Okay.
Out there.
That's the grocery option.
It is.
Okay.
It is. But then you have your local places there in Palmyra, which is not far, which is E.W. Thomas.
Right.
Best meat department and fantastic deli. The deli out there makes all their things pretty much homemade.
Get out of town.
Oh, yes.
You know what I saw? I live on the south side of Charlottesville and Redfield, and when Wegmans and Fifth Street Station opened, immediately everyone down Avon Extended and Fifth Street Extended saw their property values increase, uptick 8 to 10%. If a Harris Teeter, if a Teeter comes, and whereabouts would you think would it come?
It would be down from Spring Creek, so you would be traveling Route 15 north.
Got it.
But it'll be down in that area because really and truly, that's the only way they can go. Eventually, I see Zion's Crossroads meeting Shannon Hill, and Shannon Hill is just a drop in the hat from, this side of Short Pump.
What's Shannon Hill?
Shannon Hill is kind of halfway in between from Zion's Crossroads to Short Pump.
Okay.
If you go over on the Route 250 side, it's developing as well. I mean, there's things popping up everywhere.
Interesting. And who are the folks that are moving to these residences? Is it commuters that may have like one spouse working in Richmond and the other spouse working in Charlottesville, and it's a middle way point? I mean, who is driving that growth?
It is. And then, well, not only that, we're having people who are coming from Northern Virginia who are transferring to Richmond or Charlottesville or even Fredericksburg, Chesterfield. They're coming from all over. And then we're also having the locals that grew up here. They were born and raised, went to UVA. They moved off for, whether that was for a significant other or a job or career opportunity, and they're coming home.
Love it. Kayla Johnson, your daughter, she goes, "Hey, Mom," you got something back to her? Say, "Hey, Kayla."
Hey, baby girl.
You have a question for her? Let us know, Kayla. We also have another one of your friends watching right now who I'll get to in a matter of moments. And guys, like and share the stream. Let's get the positive spotlight on Kimberly Johnson, Kimberly Coe Johnson, one of the hardest working agents in the game right now. And we're talking about the east side of Charlottesville, the east side of Central Virginia. Her specialty, Servilla Kid. So, friend?
Yes.
Servilla
Anna
Kid.
Klein.
Yeah, she has a question for you.
All right.
Okay. Kimberly, how are property values in the radius of Zion Crossroads versus Albemarle and Henrico? Basically, compare and contrast the property values she's asking, I believe, in Zion's Crossroads versus the property values in, say, Henrico and Albemarle County. That's a good question.
It is a great question. Yeah. Albemarle County, just because it's Albemarle, and we all know it's a very sought-after area, but we are right on the coattails. It's still a little steep, but if you move out into the area of Fluvanna, Louisa, Gordonsville, you're able to purchase the same amount of square footage with a little more acreage, often, unless you're looking for that subdivision, no HOAs. So you're getting a whole lot more bang for your buck. Henrico is real close, right under the short tails of Albemarle, and depending on the area, Henrico can be a little more expensive than Albemarle at times.
Interesting.
Although, again, like every area, there's places that people are looking for, whether it's to be on the river, in through Fluvanna and Albemarle, we have some beautiful rivers, and also you get closer to waterfront or Lake Anna, you're going to pay a little more, but I think we're right in there. We're coming up. We're making a comeback.
You're in a hot spot, and you've positioned your
yes.
brand and your career in such a smart location because this is the layman's perspective, and you have a lot of friends. Addie Drivas Burris said, "Kim was my realtor. She's incredible. I absolutely love Kimberly Johnson." And that's Addie Drivas Burris. Is that right?
Her, yes.
Okay, so you know her.
Yes.
Okay, she's giving you
woman.
props. She's giving you props.
Daddy.
Also getting props, Wendy Hamilton. She says, "Kim, you look fantastic." You do.
Well,
Wendy Hamilton giving you some props. Kayla's all over the stream right now. I love some Kayla Johnson, guys. Like and share the stream and get the spotlight on Kimberly Coe Johnson. Like this stream and share it right now, guys. It's spotlight positive for her. This is what the layman's perspective sees. And I love the real estate piece. Investor myself. But what I see is ridiculously high cost of living in Charlottesville and very little supply. And because there's such little supply, the prices are going up, and up, which is pushing folks out that cannot afford the limited supply that's in the Charlottesville city market. As a result, that is driving interest and demand first to Albemarle County, because that's the county immediately around Charlottesville that's closest to the jobs. And then it's driving a second level of interest and demand to Fluvanna, Orange, Greene, Nelson, the counties surrounding Albemarle. Perhaps the same thing is happening on the west end of Richmond. We know the west end of Richmond is a Tony, hip, expensive place to live. Happening place. Happening. Yeah, people want to live on the west end. Expensive real estate on the west end. So it seems to me, and this is just a layman's perspective, it seems to me the west end of Richmond is pushing the growth down Interstate 64, where Charlottesville is pushing the growth up Interstate 64, and it's freaking meeting right there in the middle, and you're right there ready to like hit a grand slam, scoop up the business, and make things happen. Talk to me about that.
You're absolutely right. You can go, I mean, just in the last 2 years, you know, I have traveled down 64 and 250 going east, and it seems like every time I do, there's a new business. Whether it's a local family who's opening up something that they've always dreamed of, or a chain coming in. It is just amazing at the growth that we see. It's expanding, but the beauty is
it's still intimate, and you still know people,
and it's rural.
Yeah.
You can still have, you know, often people say, I want a backyard for my kids to be able to play in. I want to be able to open the back door and let them go outside, and I don't have to worry. To be in a community where your neighbor actually looks out for you. And that's the way it is out there. Everyone looks out for everyone. That community, and when I say that community, I'm speaking of Fluvanna, Louisa, no matter the growth, you can always count if something happens or someone's in need. That community pulls together like one big, huge family. So the beauty is, yes, we're getting all this growth, and it's expanding, and you no longer have to really go, what they would say, to town to do your shopping, to go to the doctor, the dentist, out to eat, entertainment. It's exploding. And on the flip side of that, we have developments coming up. So if you want your family to live in that area where you have that subdivision, where the kids in the neighborhood know each other, it's not just Spring Creek. It's growing and growing and growing.
You're a popular lady. There's so many of your friends right here on the feed. Stephanie Wells Rhodes, who's one of my favorite people in the world. Stephanie Wells Rhodes. Woman. She's an amazing woman. She says, hey, Kim. Hey, Jerry. Stephanie Wells Rhodes and Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. It's amazing. Yes. 4-generation company. I love what Intrastate Pest and Service Companies are doing. Stephanie, if you have a question for Kim, Stephanie previously of Lake Monticello. So she knows the Fluvanna area, Louisa, this area we're talking about very, very well. No longer lives there, but previously of Lake Monticello. Ray Cadell says, I'm showing a new home in 10 acres in Fluvanna as we speak. There's tremendous value in Fluvanna.
Yes,
connect with Kimberly Johnson, Ray Cadell, and let's you guys do a deal in the next 7 days.
That's right.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
3 days.
3 days. 3 days. Okay, there we go. Escrow today.
That's
okay.
Right.
Let me throw the local businesses. Your opportunity to showcase and highlight the local businesses that are making an impact, positive impact. I want you to introduce and educate our audience to names, to brands, to the families behind it, because what I'm seeing with the Fluvanna, Louisa, Orange Quarter, especially Fluvanna, Louisa, especially at that like Zion's Crossroads, it's turning, I think, essentially, hey, Cameron Wells Marsh. I see you, Cameron Wells Marsh. You know her too?
I do. She went to school with Kayla.
I love it. I love it. So small world.
Her children did.
Her children. Well, yeah. I knew what you meant. This is where I'm going with this. It seems to me that quarter is becoming like almost what Crozet was 10 years ago. And like Crozet was this like sleepy little area, an exit off the interstate. And now Crozet is this booming metropolis. And I think what's going to happen with Zion's Crossroads, Louisa, Fluvanna is the same thing because of Crozet. And I think what's happening with Fluvanna school systems is they're getting so much better than what they were. The school system and the tax dollars are going into the school system to improve the infrastructure. And now one of the things that was concerning for parents, and stop me and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things that was concerning for parents was the quality of schools is not so much a concern anymore because the school systems have improved dramatically because more people are moving into the community, so there's more tax revenue to be allocated to improving the school system. Kimberly, the show is yours.
I agree. The school system, and I can say this, having 2 children who attended the school system out there, it has just, done a complete turnaround. We built the new school. There was some trials and tribulations during that time, and it was a little tough. However, we have amazing teachers, and just the passion that the community had to turn our schools around and make them better, and our athletes, the programs for them, and the background that came to Fluvanna to teach our children, and the community just pulling together was amazing. And the focus on the curriculum for the students just improved by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And our local businesses started coming out and supporting, where we had lost that a little bit. We started supporting our football team and our basketball team and our teachers, which in my heart is the biggest thing. Our teachers spend more time with our children more often than we do. And they get to know them sometimes just as well as we do. So them pulling together as a whole and the families coming together and supporting each other has just really turned it around.
I love that answer. And you're getting so much positive feedback here. Kayla makes a good point. She says Fluvanna has some of the highest testing SOL scores, SAT scores, and ACT scores in Central Virginia now. I'm going to repeat that.
Yes, I do.
Fluvanna County has some of the highest SOL scores, SAT scores, and ACT scores. Kayla Johnson, I love you even more. Keep contributing to this program, Kayla Johnson. You are good people. Danny Hastings, a Scottsville boy. Mm-hmm. Danny Hastings says, what's up, Jerry Miller? What's up, Kimberly? You guys are looking fantastic. Danny Hastings, thank you for the support from Scottsville. How does Scottsville fit into the mix? Because part of Scottsville is in Fluvanna.
It is.
Part of Scottsville is in Albemarle County.
Yes.
It's so interesting. How does Scottsville fit into the mix?
Well, Scottsville is just a quaint, everybody knows everybody kind of town. The same concept. You don't have to leave the little city, little town. Excuse me,
it's awesome.
Local to go to the big city.
Right.
You have your doctor, you have your grocery store, you have your bank, you have Tavern On The James down there, which is booming.
Yeah.
They have live entertainment on the weekends. You have local breweries there, shopping, a local pharmacy. So, again, you don't have to come into Charlottesville or go to Richmond unless you want to. Scottsville is just a peaceful, everybody knows everybody. You open the door, it's hi, how are you? And people remember you. They call you by name.
It's amazing.
So.
My wife and I go there. We go to James River Brewery. And then after having a pint or two at James River Brewery, we'll head up to Tavern On The James for dinner, some dessert, family friendly, so approachable, so easygoing. We started going there, make this kind of a tradition. And within 2 trips of going there, they knew our names, what our orders was.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, when you guys coming back? And I felt welcomed and so safe and so walking down the street. Here's the question I have for you. How can Scottsville match the growth that's around it? Seems to me one of the limitations with Scottsville is almost one of the limitations with Crozet is the infrastructure from a roadway getting into the community is so limited. With Crozet, if something's screwed up on 250, like a traffic accident, then 64 becomes a nightmare and snarled with backup traffic. I can't even imagine what traffic would be like on 20 going to Scottsville from Charlottesville if that gets backed up there. I mean, to put in perspective what is limiting or how Scottsville could go to the next level from a growth or economic standpoint, Kimberly.
Well, I don't know that it's limiting.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that because the folks who live out there, you move to Scottsville because you do want that rural, but yet you want to have that community where everyone knows everyone. So I don't think it's limited.
Got it.
If we had to put it in that perspective, I would most certainly say it would be a traffic pattern. More so, it's just the historical part of Scottsville. Why do you want to change that? Where can you go and walk down the street and have the beautiful character of these older buildings that were so detailed and the lighted streets? That's the beauty of it. It's that community and being able to raise your children in such a small. So I don't know.
So you're basically
that's limiting.
saying,
why would you want to change that?
I love that. And let's go back and forth on this because you're opening up my mind. I'm seeing it purely from the capitalistic, entrepreneurial side. How can we build. And you're saying, no, what makes the character and what turns Scottsville into a crown jewel is the tremendous sense of intimacy, the feeling of Mayberry, the fact that when you do walk down there's one traffic light.
Right.
You know, and that's what makes the place great. Do you think everyone feels that way about Scottsville? I mean, I know the old guard does. I know old school Charlottesville that's been there long term wants to keep it that way. Why I'm asking this question is I just see like this growth going everywhere. And isn't it just a matter of time till it starts going down 20 that way?
It is.
Yeah.
And in some ways, you know, don't get me wrong, I am all about growth.
Right, I know you are.
I'm all about growth. But let's keep it local.
Yeah.
You know, let's give the local people, you say maybe the older generation, I don't agree with that.
I love it.
Because there are kids, so my children are older, and I have a grandson who's being raised in Fluvanna, and my children adore Scottsville and that area because everybody knows them and they feel safe. So I think, you know, the kids who have grown up out there and they're becoming young adults and they're buying houses and they're starting their own families, they live there for a reason and they develop their careers into the cities and they don't mind that commute. Because when they go home, it's not just a house.
Great answer.
If that makes sense.
That made perfect sense. In fact, we need to turn that into a highlight reel. Do you want to keep going with that thought?
Only if you do.
Okay. Let's sizzle reel that. Harris Tolber, our director, that was a sizzle reel. We're turning that into a highlight clip. That was a money answer. And I appreciated how you disagreed with me. I like that. I like that a lot. And you don't want to know something else? You've already filled 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
For like 5 minutes here. You are popular. Robbie Carden says, hey, lady, good to see you. You're looking good. Robbie Carden on the stream. Thank you to Stephanie. Thank you to Sarah Hill-Buchinsky, your colleague at Roy Wheeler, who's watching. Megan Hart, thank you for watching. Lauren Sprouse, thank you for watching. Please like and share this stream. When you like and share this show, you put Kimberly Johnson and her career and her business and her efforts in a positive spotlight. The big guy, Michael Guthrie, on the feed right now. I see you, MG. See you later this afternoon, Michael Guthrie. How about the proximity to the interstate when it comes to Fluvanna and Zion's Crossroads in that Louisa quarter? How has that propelled or springboarded that quarter into awesome growth? I mean, the accessibility is so huge.
Oh, it's wonderful. And that's the misconception that sometimes happens out there. Often I will hear, oh, it's so far out. But now there are so many ways to get from point A to point B that, no, not really. It depends. You know, if you need that travel home in the evenings where you need that time to unwind before you're running into the house with the kids, the wife, we got to go here, we got basketball, we got baseball, whatever is going on, take a different route. Gives you time to unwind. But yet, if you need to go home quickly, you can do that as well. It is so easy. You can be rural on 5 acres and be less than 10 minutes from Zion's Crossroads to I-64.
I love it. Sizzle reel that. Let's call that accessibility in the sizzle reel. Sherry Woodson says, Kimberly, you are awesome, and gives you the hand emoji clap. She likes some Kimberly Johnson. Sherry Woodson, if you have a question for Kimberly or Michael Guthrie, put it in the stream, and we'll pass it along to KJ right here. Does anyone call you KJ?
Used to.
Yeah? Can I call you KJ?
Of course you can.
KJ, I like you, KJ. All right, who are the major players? Who are making the development happen?
Oh my goodness. You know, that again is the beauty. We have Saga Homes, who is a custom builder, phenomenal guy. Local guy, has been in the business for a long time. Of course, you have Frank Balliff, who has done a lot of development.
Southern development?
Yes, Southern development.
He's big there?
Frank developed a lot of Fluvanna.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Well, you know, Frank saw a vision that I think some of the builders got a little nervous about. Lake Monticello was very close to being built out. We're still not completely built out, but it was being close to being built out. And Frank saw an opening to develop some areas that hadn't been touched. So he went in on, zoned in on that. He built, when I was still married, he built our home for us. Mm-hmm. We did a custom home built. Phenomenal. I highly recommend him to anyone. But you turn that around, and again, you have your local builders that are just great. They were born and raised there. They're building. You have JT with JT Homes, who is phenomenal, been building in the area for years. And it's just a growing Hauser Homes built out there for many, many years. So there's tons of builders out there, a lot of custom builders.
Love it. Michael Guthrie says there's one little secret about the Fluvanna-Louisa corridor. The sun is behind you in the morning and in the PM. There is no sun or no glare when you're going to and from Louisa and Zion's Crossroads in Fluvanna.
That's true.
Yeah, so you're not dealing with that. And that issue is so prevalent when going to and from Ivy and Crozet. That is something where you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot see in front of me here. I want to sizzle reel to Frank Bailiff in Southern Development because Kimberly is spotlighting a developer very nicely, and I think he is doing some big time things. Atlantic Builders, Stanley Martin, Ryan, Tommy Dotson, Liberty, just to name a few in the area from the chat box. Throwing it to you in regards to Atlantic Builders, Stanley Martin, Ryan, Tommy Dotson, and Liberty.
They're all excluding Liberty that I know of, and I apologize if I'm misleading, but they all build in Spring Creek and around the subdivisions. They also are buying up property and building custom homes, building spec houses. Tommy's a phenomenal builder as well. Stanley Martin, a local builder, just like Frank, with Southern Development. Stanley Martin also builds a beautiful home. They're known in and around the area and have developed out on the east side quite a bit, and a great supporter. Stanley Martin is a great supporter of the community as well.
Stephanie Wells Rhodes, I'm going to throw this to you about Lake Monticello. Stephanie Wells Rhodes says in the chat box, we raised both of our children in Lake Monticello, and we would not have changed a thing. Everyone is looking out for you, including your kids. Safe place. Lake Monticello, throwing it to you. Thoughts on that, Kimberly?
Absolutely. It is, young families move out there because of that. They have a beautiful, brand new Olympic-sized swimming pool. They have a swim team. You have the golf course. You have basketball courses, the beaches. You can boat. And it's a community, a lot of people don't know this as well in the Charlottesville and on the west side. Lake Monticello does this huge event, the 4th of July. And you can pretty much open your door and the kids go, I'll be at the beach. And they're going to be all right. Awesome. They're going to be safe. They have their own police force, and it is a gated community. We have the fire department right outside of the lake, which I have to give props to our volunteers with Palmyra and Zion's Crossroads there and Lake Monticello Fire Department. They are some amazing people.
Good answer right there. Sizzle reel that. Lake Monticello. Great answer. Andre Xavier says Frank Bailiff is the man. So Frank Bailiff in Southern Development getting some big-time props thanks to KJ here on the program. Lake Monticello has an interesting dynamic. I think the misconception in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, maybe on the west side of Charlottesville, maybe the misconception is, it's too far. The other misconception is that it's a lot of snowbirds, a lot of Yankees that are come down and have purchased homes within Lake Monticello and the development. Any truth to any of those misconceptions at all?
So the too far, I think, is an individual perception or perspective, I might say, only because what is too far?
Right.
How far will you drive for a good meal or for good service? If you're not an individual who likes, let's just say Walmart, a lot of people don't care for a Walmart, but Walmart's your closest, but you'll drive 30 minutes to hit a Harris Teeter or a Wegmans or a Kroger. So that peace of mind on that drive that may be 20 or 25 minutes, that gives you just another whole unwind time to think about your next day or your plan for the evening. So is it really too far? I think that might be in the eye of the beholder.
Good. Well said. Well said. A lot of people in the chat box saying, and on top of that, the Lake Monticello homes are priced reasonably.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so they're priced fairly reasonably. You can even make the legitimate argument, perhaps below market value in some of the homes in Lake Monticello. Your thoughts?
We are at a steady come back now. We're kind of leveling out.
Okay.
There was a point in time where the lake was a bit expensive.
Right.
We have
and it was
started
the
to
Yankee
level out.
money, right? Coming in?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't like Yankee money. I'm not saying that, okay? Let's be honest. That's what was happening. And it was a lot of second homes that were being purchased. And what I noticed, and this is just a guy who tries to follow the market, what I noticed was the second homes, when the economy got a little tougher, the quality of care, the TLC of these homes was not there, and they were neglected. And when the second homes got neglected, it hurt the overall totality and macro aspect of the neighborhood. Because the folks that this was their primary development, their first-time residents, where they were wearing, like Stephanie, where they were raising their kids, they put their heart and soul into the home, only to see someone who was a snowbird or a second homeowner not put the same heart and soul into it, and it impacted the neighborhood. Thoughts on that?
Yes, it did. Very much so. Unfortunately, we saw a boom out there when the foreclosure and short sale happened. Some veterans, who moved into the community that was fighting for us were losing their homes because they couldn't keep them up. So therefore, they were going downhill. When the economy fell out, it took a struggle. It did, and unfortunately, it impacted the whole community. However, again, that community family, everybody comes together. You start talking about Lake Monticello again. We clean it up. We're bringing it back. Those homes are being brought back to life, and they're going back from houses to homes again. And that was because of the locals and everyone saying, hey, I live out there. I raised my kids out there. There's a house down the street, 3-bedroom, bath and a half for, $160,000. You should check it out. Yeah, it's a first-time home buyer, maybe not.
Sure.
And people were coming back in and showing these homes love again. And it is a beautiful community. You can go out there and you can find the most precious cottage that is full of character, and go around the corner and find a custom-built home that has all the bling, all the bells and whistles. So, yes, we have come back, and it's a beautiful community.
Great answer, Kimberly Johnson. Cross on that, lady. Sizzle reeled that, homie. Here is Tolbert making us look good. You have a very, and I'm sure you've heard this before, a very calming vibe to you.
Oh, well,
and I think it balances well against my neurotic ADHD all over the place vibe. We balance each other well. How about the compare? I got this in the chat box. And Judah, if you could, will you bring me my coffee, sir, from my desk? I forgot to bring it on set. We'll get this in the chat box. Compare and contrast Spring Creek and Lake Monticello. The dynamics of both. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. And I don't know that it's really fair for me to do that.
Okay.
And I would say this. Lake Monticello and Spring Creek are two very different, very, very different places.
Okay.
Spring Creek is the area where folks go that they've been used to, the hustle and bustle. They don't want a lot of yard to take care of. They want to buy a lot for their money as far as size of home. I mean, you can get a 3,000-4,000 square foot home out there.
On like 0.4.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And for, you come into Charlottesville and you can get maybe 2,000 for the same cost, depending on where you are, because you have the golf course out there. You do have some older homes. So I don't know that Spring Creek is a fair comparison, because it's more of the young professional or retired. They want that laid back. They don't want a lot of maintenance, the hustle bustle, not a lot of street togetherness.
Sure.
If you know what I mean. You're not gonna, that I know of, you're not gonna go in Spring Creek and see people throwing street parties, picnics, get together, but you'll see them down at Tavern on the Green,
getting
hanging
hammered.
out.
Oh my gosh,
playing golf.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you're playing the safe way. I'm the guy who likes to have a fun and get after it. My wife and I were at a wedding at Tavern on the James that happened to coincide with the Halloween party that was at Tavern on the James, and there was like 85 people, or not Tavern on the James. It was what's the
Tavern on the Green.
Tavern on the Green. So we're at a wedding at Spring Creek. Okay, right on the 18th hole outside. It was beautiful. And also going on was the Halloween party. And KJ, They were getting after it. I'm talking about like 80 people like getting after it in there.
Oh, I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a happening place.
It really is.
And the diversity out there. You have people from all over, and they moved to Spring Creek because it's that easy.
You were totally right. It was 27-year-olds that were like young professionals that had either the commute to Richmond or Central or Charlottesville, partying alongside of 60, 70-year-old retirees.
Oh, yeah. Don't you know the 60 is the new 40?
I know that.
I can say that.
There you go.
So, but Lake Monticello, in that perspective, is a whole different community. That's where you're going to go to raise your family. You're going to have children. You've just gotten married. You're ready to start a family, or you're retired and your children are living in the community, and you're there to hang out and play with your grandkids because it offers the beaches and the boating. It's also a golf course, and a beautiful one, I might add.
Yeah.
They have a new clubhouse that's been remodeled. They have a new pub out there. By the way, the food is phenomenal. And it's coming. But it's more of the laid back.
Got it.
You know, you're going to see a group. I did the women's 4-miler for many years.
Cool.
Huge supporter of any type of
You ran in it?
event. Oh, yeah.
Oh, get out. Good for you. Okay.
So, and you'll see all of us out there training and running and people waving, and they get over, and it's totally different communities. I think if you are used to the city and the hustle and bustle, but you want to be outside of it and you want to give a different perspective, Spring Creek is the place to go. If you want a little more laid back, go to Lake Monticello.
Great answer right there. Sizzle reel that for us, Harris. And you got a lot of folks watching you right now. Let's thank some people for joining us. Paula Stevenson, thank you for joining us. Des Raj, thank you for watching right now. Tim Ryan, John Gilmore, Grace, thank you for watching us right now. If you guys could do me the favor in liking this show, like the stream, and share the stream so we can get a positive spotlight here on KJ, Kimberly Coe Johnson, the real estate agent extraordinaire on the east side of Central Virginia. All right, what does the east side, Fluvanna, Lake Monticello, Spring Creek, Louisa, Zion's Crossroads, what does it need? What are we missing here? What do we need to take it to the next level so we could potentially see, because I'm also a proponent of growth. I think we're proponents of strategic growth and not urban sprawl. The last thing we want is for it to turn into Fredericksburg or Northern Virginia, where it's like chain, and it's like just sprawl. Right. Neither of us, I don't think, want that.
No.
Absolutely. But we do want growth, strategic growth. What is the strategic growth that's missing?
I would say your retail shopping.
Okay.
We have Lowe's and we have Walmart.
Okay.
But if you're going to look for that unique gift, or you don't have time to come into Charlottesville, there's not a lot of options. Whether that would be a boutique or a new home store of some sort, I would have to say we have the Jefferson Pharmacy out in Palmyra, right outside the lake. Phenomenal place. Family owned, family run. You can go out there and find the most unique gifts. And that's kind of a little secret, too. A lot of people who are around the Zion's Crossroads area, Troy, Kent store, in through there, they don't know about Jefferson Pharmacy. And you can go there, you can get floral arrangements, you can get gifts of all kinds, you can get your prescriptions. And when you walk in the door, it's a greeting. I think we need more of that. Okay. We need more of that. We need more of those folks who are ready to say, you know what, I've always thought about opening a bakery, which we do have. We have I believe it's Sugar and Salt, something like that. I always get it a little wrong, so forgive me, but it's beside the Tucker, Griffin, and Barnes there at Lake Monticello across from Food Line, off of the Jefferson Gate. We have a bakery there, but we need a little more of that. The bakery, the boutiques, the retail shopping. If we can nail that down, you wouldn't have to leave. You are crushing it. People are responding so well to you right now. Elise Ann Brotherton, AL1. Yes. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Elise Ann Brotherton says, I miss Lake Monticello tremendously. Kimberly, you're crushing it. Elise, thank you so much for posting that comment. Matt Rogers said, I'm just in time to watch Kimberly Johnson. Stephanie Wells Rose said, I love the Jefferson Pharmacy. The hardest part for us for leaving Lake Monticello was leaving the Jefferson Pharmacy, which is what you're saying. Is that place so special? Oh, yes. Yeah? Oh, yes. They know you by name. They know if if you go in, for example, let's talk about Kayla, since she tuned
Kayla's
in,
her
my
daughter who's watching right now.
Yes. And I
Love
have
you,
a son,
Kayla.
Garrett. I have a son, Garrett. He's working today. Both went to Fluvanna County schools. But, however, let's talk about Kayla. If I was to go in there and pick up something for Kayla, all I have to do is say, I'm here to pick up my daughter, and they know exactly who I'm talking about. They connect your families. They know if you're picking up something that maybe what didn't work for them, and I'm talking, let's just talk on because they have all kinds of things out there. They have things for bath and body and just different things, jewelry. They'll tell you, hey, your daughter was in here a few days ago, and by the way, she was looking at this. It gives you great gift ideas. They remember things like that. They know you by name.
I love that stuff.
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff still means to me. And unfortunately, that kind of like customer service is being eroded from the marketplace because of the ubiquitous nature of smartphones and because the internet makes everything right now. We are losing human connection because of social media. And I say that as someone who owns an advertising agency who is leveraging social media to drive revenue for him and his clients. But social media, I think one of the bad things of social media is the lack of doing this. And you clearly excel at this with the human connection. Sarah Hill-Buchenski, your colleague, shared the stream. Thank you, Sarah Hill-Buchenski.
Thank you, Sarah.
Paula Stevenson says, this is amazing real estate info. Watch now. And she shared the stream. Jenny Ship-Lawhorn. Jenny Ship-Lawhorn sharing the stream left and right. I like you, Jenny Ship-Lawhorn, sharing like the stream for KJ. Roy Wheeler sharing the stream here. Tiffany Rosalas, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name, Tiffany. Tiffany, thank you for joining us here on the show. Give the show a like. We started this early, and I want to circle back to this because I think this is huge news. Okay. And I didn't give it perhaps as much attention as it deserves. You mentioned early in the program that a Harris Teeter, your instinct is saying
chatter.
Is seeing your chat.
Some
the chatter.
chatter.
The chatter is the teeter that's coming just past Spring Creek, which could give Zion's Crossroads, Louisa and Fluvanna, the grocery store. I think it certainly, undoubtedly needs.
Absolutely.
It reminds me, and I brought this up when we were on the South Side, and I tie it back to the South Side because that's where I live. When we were at the South Side, we only had the Food Lion on Fifth Street Extended, and that Food Lion had an armed guard watching the door after 8 p.m., and my wife was nervous to go to the Food Lion anytime at dark for understandable reasons. So where I'm going with this is as soon as the Wegmans came and brought a different level of grocery, then not only did property values increase, but I noticed that my wife had she was relaxed about going.
And at ease.
Yeah, at ease. To go to the grocery store. And I'm like, happy wife, relaxed wife, makes my job a lot easier. Okay?
Happy wife, happy home.
Right. You totally get that, right? Put the grocery store and Harris Teeter in perspective again for everybody. Now we have a lot of people watching right now.
I believe that is going to open up doors for. So let's talk about the communities around the subdivisions that have moved out there, and they're wanting the closeness to be able to shop and those type of things. Those folks are going to go less and less to Charlottesville, which I'm not taking away from Charlottesville, but Charlottesville and Short Pump and those areas shopping because it's going to be right there. When they leave that workforce of the grind, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever it is, and they just want that peacefulness, they're going to be able to stay close at home, get their needs met by, because let's face it, Walmart's a fantastic place. However, they don't always have what you're wanting.
Right.
A lot of gourmet cooking these days. A lot of people are into entertaining, the indoor-outdoor entertaining. They're building things onto their homes to be able to do that. If you're going to do that, you want to stay close to home. You don't want to spend half a day in town shopping for what you need to entertain that night. So why not bring it out there? Why not reach out to all those people when you can come home, stop by, pick up whatever you need, and you're there. And that's allowing our community out there to spend more time with family and friends.
Great answer. Sizzle reel that. Call it teeter. Because I think that's going to have a dramatic impact on property values in that quarter. You have filled 52 minutes, and you are a rock star. You are so easy to speak with and have a conversation with. You're so pleasant. 7 small world tidbit in the chat box. Corin Rhodes cheered with Kayla, your daughter, at Fluvanna County High School.
Yes, she did.
I mean, isn't it so crazy? Everybody's like 2 degrees apart from each other. Even in like Fluvanna Orange with Green and Almero and Nelson. It's so crazy. Do you love that about this area?
I do love that about this area. You know, there is a lot to be said for children starting out in kindergarten and graduating together, and they keep those friendships. I have seen those kids grow up together and come together in some of the hardest times that kids should never have to experience. And it is heartfelt and touching. I am big into community service, and I do mission trips, and I do a lot of different things to try to give back. And I am telling you, those are areas where it all comes together. These kids know each other, and they can go years and not speak or see each other and let something happen, and you're talking about a community that will come together in a minute. And there's, you know, we need a lot more. You were talking about the social media aspect of things. I believe if social media was more positive and there was things of, hey, let's work on this together. How do we make our community grow stronger? Social media could turn around.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of all the negativity I don't
That's what we're trying to do with this show.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's working.
It is working.
It's working.
Right. And you know what? And you are so intelligent. And why it's working is because we don't say any negative things here.
Absolutely not.
We only say positive stuff. And the positive stuff is standing out from a negative, crowded newsfeed where everybody's hating on the president or hating on something or posting terrible video. You know, you see it. We don't do that. Why do it?
Exactly. Why
do it? You're of the mindset similar to me, where like you don't even allow the negativity in your life, do you?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't have time for it.
I don't have time for it either.
I don't have time for it. You know, there is a strong plan for me, and that plan is not to see people turn a smile to a frown. It's that plan of walking through a door, whether I know you or not, and acknowledging that you're in front of me and, hey, how are you? How's your day? You never know, just those simple words, how it could change someone's whole day around.
Totally
just because you acknowledged them.
Totally agree. And it's like, you're basically saying, and it's like our entire mission and mantra, not only for the business, but for how I live my life, is treat the golden rule. Why do people not treat others like they want to be treated themselves? It's so obvious to me. And why do people choose to live in this like negative ecosystem when all they have to do is change their perspective? And what I'm trying to do, and what you clearly are doing with your career, is like, look, I'm going to live my life by the golden rule. I'm going to try to go out every day and be the best version of myself. And I think if I am the best version of myself, that it's going to be contagious and rub off on other people. And if I do that, good things are going to happen to me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take the real estate view of it. It is amazing to me at the people who will cross my path who think they can't buy a home. What do you mean? Well, maybe they have rented forever and they have this mindset that, you know, I had a divorce, I had a repossession, I had hospital bills, whatever. I mean, let's face it, when the economy crashed, there were people who were doing really well and all of a sudden they didn't have work. Yeah. So they experienced things they thought they never would. Then there was those folks who they just rolled right on through it, and now they're still saying, you know, I'm not sure I can buy a home. It's because no one's ever given them that positive feed of how you go about buying a home. Anyone can do it. And as long as you're willing to put the work in and the effort, I work with a team of loan officers who are amazing. Movement Mortgage and Atlantic Coast Mortgage are loan officers that I work with, and these guys will work with you to mend your credit, get you back. It doesn't matter what you've had. And sometimes I think we lose that. We get so wrapped up in making that almighty dollar so quickly that we forget, because we do this on a daily basis, we forget people don't know how to go about it. It's not something they do. So let's teach them, let's show them, let's help them be homeowners. And you know, I don't care what background you come from. You can change that. That's a choice.
That was so good. That was so good. Harris, I'm sorry I'm giving you so much work, sir. I apologize. He's now cutting out. You're going to get a lot of sizzle reels from this interview because you've said a lot of very poignant, deep things. Clearly, and we can get into this if you want to. We don't have to. I have no problem at all getting into it and talking about my faith. Clearly, your faith is something that's important to you.
Extremely.
Yeah, I can just tell.
Extremely.
Put that
it hasn't always been that way, though,
yeah?
Jerry. Yeah,
okay.
let me...
Talk to me about that.
Ooh, that is really getting to know
yeah.
me. The last 2 years, let's just say I went through some trials and tribulations that changed my life.
Okay.
There was a point, and I don't mind sharing this because...
We don't have to if you don't want to.
Oh, no, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I found myself on my knees more than on my feet.
Okay.
And the only way I was going to get out of that was I needed help. And I needed help from something much stronger than me. And I started educating myself and looking, and I have a dear friend, my best friend, Susan Stewart, who also is in the business, an amazing woman. If it wouldn't have been for her, I don't know how I would have gotten through it. Her and my pastor, June Clifford, amazing, and a whole nother group of people that I didn't even realize how much they cared about me. And I dipped in and I started learning, and my faith grew, and I developed a relationship with God that is amazing, and I got baptized last year.
Good for you.
Huge impact in my life. It is something that I feel like, don't get me wrong, I most certainly am not a holier than thou, and I sin every day. But I believe this world is full of a bunch of imperfect people pulling together to find out that we all just gather in a house of imperfection. And we build that faith, and we come together as community. And with God on our side, we can pretty much do anything.
That's amazing. That was so amazing.
Well, thank you.
You're getting me a little misty-eyed right here. That was amazing. Amazing. Can you... All right, thank you, Harris. Sizzle reel that. That was amazing. How did it change your career? How did you immediately notice positive impacts with your career and your personal life once you were willing to be okay with vulnerability and taking a wall down?
It humbled me tremendously. And it helped me also, I believe, I'm learning how to become a better parent, to have a better relationship with my children, and realize that this is a learning experience that we're going to stumble through together. And on my career, it's the same thing. Everyone who crosses my path. So maybe it's just for me to help them understand what it means to buy a home or be a homeowner, or to understand that they can, or to connect them with somebody to fix a leaky pipe. For whatever reason, it has put me in their path, and I didn't realize that before. People cross my path daily because they're supposed to. And I never did that. I just always thought it was, no, you get out there and you grind, and if it happens, it happens. You know, I've always been a compassionate person, but I never really took the time to listen so closely. And now I do, you know. Lord sometimes goes, hey, you're not paying attention. This person needs you. And it's ironic in my business how that happens. It can be for so many levels. Sometimes our business, we hope for it to always be a joyous thing, but sometimes it's because someone has gotten sick or they've lost a loved one, and they have to make a really hard decision. And if I can help them get through that time, and behind the scenes often say a little prayer that maybe they don't even know about, and make it easier, absolutely. And I've only did that with surrounding myself with people who have faith like I do.
Good answer right there. You go about your, and we'll wind down the show. You've 63 minutes. You crushed it. You crushed it. You go about your real estate profession different than I think a lot of folks that I know. And you go about it. It's not transactional for you. It's a relationship, and it's so obvious. It's like you obviously want to close the deal, but you're not going to close the deal at the risk or at the exploitation of the client. You're obviously so client first and so relationship first. Why don't we wind down with that mindset of being about the relationship first and the transaction second, and how that has made your career more successful and how it's built your personal brand, it comes down to this. And like, I think we have very similar mindsets. If you give to the ecosystem and the world and the environment in Charlottesville, in our neighborhood, if you give more to the entity more than you take from the ecosystem, maybe in the short term, you're not going to get ahead, but in the long term, you will. And why you will get ahead is because the world, the community, the neighborhood, the ecosystem, Charlottesville, Fluvanna, Louisa, will see that you really are genuine about how you go about life. Absolutely. Trying to help people before you put yourself ahead of them. How has that mindset benefited you in your career?
It's personal for me. It's personal. And, you know, it is being able to get up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and know that I'm okay with the decisions I made the day before. I can rest my head at night. And these are people who impact my life. You would not believe the people who teach me something on a daily basis. And it's so ironic because they're looking at me thinking I'm teaching them something. And really, a lot of times, they've taught me something.
Totally feel that way.
You know, they become my friends. They become my family. I've attended weddings. I've attended baby showers. I've attended birthdays. It's just more than a business transaction. You do 3 major things in your life. You get married. A lot of us have children. And you buy a home. Those are huge. It is the biggest investment you will ever make. And to take that lightly, I'm just not made that way. I can't do it. During the fallout, I made it a goal.
This is 2008?
Yeah,
Okay.
2007, end of 2007 through 2009.
Okay.
You know, that hit me and my family very hard as well, and I understood it. And I made it a goal to help others not lose their homes. I learned a hard lesson during that time.
Can I ask you what that lesson was?
I lost my home. It impacted us drastically, and it taught me a lot. You know, I opened up, but it was on a different scale. That was before people were educated and you even knew how you could save it. So I made a mission because if I'd have known what I did now, that would have never happened. And I was like, I can help others. So I often had people come to me and say, I have to sell my house. Well, why? No, you don't. Let's look at this and see how we can save this. That meant more to me. You know, people work really hard, and it takes a lot to take a house and make it a home.
Yeah.
Any structure can be a house, but it's very rarely you make it a home.
Harris. Yeah, dude, this is writing it down before we said. Was that not amazing? Yeah, that was amazing. Gosh, you got me choked up here. Paul Stevenson says, this is why I love CVille. Awesome interview. Kim, I would love to meet you. Paul Stevenson, why don't we... Kimberly Johnson is in the comments here. Send her a friend request. Can Paula send her a friend request, Paula Stevenson, and then Kimberly will follow up from there. Robbie Carden says, you're a very nice person and a great friend.
Thank you, Robbie. Aw, Jerry.
Close with this. Camera right there. Your hobbies, passions, interests are oftentimes tied to charitable pursuits.
Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Whew.
Put that in perspective for me.
Coming from a long line of people who are passionate, and I'm speaking about my parents and my siblings, even my children. Sometimes you're put in positions where you don't have an option but to do something. So I look at those opportunities and I think, what if that was my mother or my grandmother or my brother or my sister or my grandson, my daughter? And I think, what if I wasn't here to do those things? So those charitable things, when you have a child who is sick or you've lost a loved one and you don't have any family and you're struggling, those are the time frames when again, that community. You pull together and you make it happen. And even those who, on the faith side, even those who may not have a lot of faith, you would be surprised at what comes out during that time frame. You'll see people come together that normally wouldn't. So I devote my charity and community service and Habitat for Humanity and the time I find to be able to do things with my church and my church family and even my motorcycle family, poker runs and benefits, every chance I get.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hannah Mills says you're one of the most wonderful people she knows.
Oh.
You are killing it. Last question. Why Roy Wheeler?
That's easy.
Why Roy Wheeler is easy?
Oh, it's very easy. I was with a Carrion Realty before, which was a very locally owned. Corvin Flynn, amazing man, owned a Carrion Realty, and I worked for him. And it was a small network of amazing people and a family. Well, some changes happened, and Corvin and Lisa decided to make some changes and kind of scale down. And the only other option was Roy Wheeler because it was family.
Yeah.
These people stand by each other in a way that is just on a scale that is unbelievable. They gather together, we look out for each other, we learn from each other, the education and the support. You never hear someone say, I don't have time to answer that, or I don't have time for you. It doesn't matter how long they've been in the business. So Roy Wheeler it's local, it's well known, but more than anything, it's a group of people who have compassion for what they do. They take pride in what they do, and we're loyal. When we tell you we're going to do something, we do it. There's a lot of strength in that handshake and looking you in the eye and moving forward and knowing that you're going to be taken taken good care of. It just wasn't. There wasn't another option.
Great answer.
It just had to be Roy Wheeler.
Great answer. 70 minutes felt like 7 minutes. Testament to you. Darlene Ray says you're the sweetest person I know. You are so well liked. I see it, and I love it because you're going about it the right way, and I see why like Michael and Chris and the folks at Roy Wheeler were like, Kimberly would be great at this, and you truly are.
Thank you.
And I see that just from watching what's happening here. The interaction of people, like, and how much they like have your back, and I think we need more Kimberly Johnsons. And why I think that is because you live life the right way, and you put others first, and it's so obvious. And that's what we're trying to do here. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you killed it today.
Thank you.
You will get a lot of positive feedback from this. She's gotten me emotional here on the show. I mean, amazing.
Thank you.
Composing myself. And I'm going to be back here in 22 hours and 50 minutes. 22 hours and 49 minutes. Tomorrow is Gerard Smith, who is running for Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. We will put his platform in a positive spotlight. It's not about politics for me. It's about you getting to know who is running for the offices so you can make a more informed decision with your vote. There are 3 city council spots in Charlottesville that are up for election this year, and these 3 city council spots will, in a lot of ways, determine Charlottesville in the next 3 years of what City Hall is going to do. Guys, the city council and how the elections are done in Charlottesville, the Democratic primary on June 11th determines who goes on council, not the election in November. So if you want to have an impact on Central Virginia, you get involved with the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors election and the city council election that's going on in June with the June 11 primary. Kimberly Johnson is an amazing person. You're going to see her across the I Love CVille network for the next month. I would encourage you to reach out to Kimberly, someone who's willing to show vulnerability and let the guard down in front of so many people, and that's what she did today, is someone that you can trust. There's no like ulterior motives or like different people with her. She's the same person in any setting. My name is Jerry Miller. I love connecting with you guys through this forum, and I love showcasing the best of Charlottesville. And when I say the best of Charlottesville, I mean the best of Central Virginia. And that's truly what the game plan here is with I Love CVille. Thank you to Harris Tolber, our director, and Judah Whitcower, the producer. Lauren also making the show possible. Thank you, Lauren Linsky. My name is Jerry Miller. I will see you now in 22 hours and 47 minutes on the I Love CVille show. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, Charlottesville, Virginia. Please be good to each other. See you tomorrow.
That was awesome.
You killed it. Seriously, you were amazing. You're going to get like, you crushed it. I mean, like,
Thank you. You made it easy.
You made it easy.
I was nervous, but you made it easy.
All I did was ask questions and just follow your lead, and I thought you were truly amazing. I mean,
Thank you.
I never,